Romaniacs Sparkle.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about what you're working on just now.
Okay, so at the moment I'm working on something really exciting. It's a new idea that I'm working on. It's currently working title First Time Mums Club. And it follows the story of 3 separate ladies on their journey to becoming first-time mums. But their stories are very different. We deal with a husband and wife who are going through a bit of a rocky patch at the moment, a one-night stand gone wrong, and a same-sex couple who are on their journey to having a baby together. And it's very, very exciting, full of drama and excitement, and a few twists along the way. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having that one out there.
What started you off? What inspired you as a writer?
I wasn't one of these people that, I started writing since I was yay-high and everything. I didn't. I grew up wanting to be a physiotherapist. Shout out to Catherine. And then then I wanted to be a dancer. And it wasn't until I had my daughter. I'd been kind of dabbling in a few kind of little stories and here and there, but it was only ever a hobby. I had my daughter, and then that was when I started thinking, actually, I want to do this with a view to being published one day. And 10 years later, still standing here doing it, and I love every minute of it, so I think I've really found my calling in life.
Top tip for us?
Top tip, believe in yourself and always just follow your dream, because I think I spent years and years saying, I'm not a writer, I'm not published, I'm not a writer. I am a writer, I write every day, I create stories, I am a writer, and I think the second you start thinking of yourself as a writer, then you are a writer, and I think if you do that, then you will go far. Just believe in yourself and do it for you and nobody else.
Thank you, Lucy. Good morning, Catherine Miller.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Romaniacs Sparkle Spotlight.
Oh.
It's lovely to see you. And tell us what you're working on right now.
I've just finished my copy edits for All That Is Left of Us, which is my novel coming out in September. It's, it's about the aftermath of surrogacy within a family, and it contains a lot of meerkats, which I'm not fond of.
I've got nothing to say about that, really.
Yeah, I might have to change mine.
Your surrogates and meerkats.
Kind of a hobby.
There's a Archie, the surrogate mum Dawn, who's the main character. It's her son Archie has an obsession with meerkats. So that's how that feeds into the story. But yeah, they do become a bit simple.
It's making sense now.
Yeah.
What inspired you to start?
I've always enjoyed writing. I've always done it as a hobby. The thing that really set me off trying to make it a career was I've got an eyesight condition called uveitis, and I had to start taking immunosuppressants, and I was a physiotherapist. Shout out to Lucie. And it meant that career-wise I was having a lot of problems with illness, so I had to think about changing, and I thought, well, why don't I try and pursue this dream of becoming a writer? Not really thinking it might happen, but yeah, persistence pays, it turns out. So.
Top tip for us?
Would be to make writing a priority, and treat it as a career from the off. If it is a hobby, then it will only ever be a hobby. If you want it to be a career, you need to treat it like it's a career and make it a priority. So, when you go to work, treat it as your job rather than kind of just doing it as and when. You need to kind of make it the first thing you do, not the last. Basically.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Catherine.
Morning, I made it.
Welcome. You made it by the skin of your teeth to the Sparkle Spotlight.
They felt funny.
Cutting it fine, but you're here. Talk to us about what you're doing now, writing-wise, not what you're doing now.
Writing-wise, I've just actually finished a novella which took only 10 weeks to write, which I didn't know I could do that. 47,000 words in 10 weeks. That's been submitted, and I've gone back to book 4, currently titled The Good Fight, which Catherine tells me is a really good title for it. And I can't actually come up with anything that suits it better. I'm about 20,000 words into that currently. That's what I'm doing, that, and
that's what,
let my children grow up.
Yeah, that's kind of you. What inspired you to become a writer?
My love of stationery, of pens and paper, and then reading. My mum was a great reader, and I followed in her footsteps, Enid Blyton, Folk on the Faraway Tree, and just sort of grew up reading wonderful books and making my own magazines and comics and buying more pens.
And top tip for everybody?
Well, it's interesting because we've interviewed quite a few people today, and there are writers who will say, just keep ploughing through, get that first dirty draft down, and then go back. But I can't work like that. I've tried. I really have tried to tuck my inner editor away, but it just comes out to play. I cannot progress the storyline until I resolve the problems that precede whatever this problem, that needs to be sorted out. It's to me, it's like an equation.
Sorry.
Do
Do you find that working in that way and editing as you go along, does that make the second draft editing any easier?
Yes. Yeah.
You don't find you go back and now, once you've finished the story, think actually there's a different resolve to that and edit it again on from that? Or do you find you're quite good as you work through the story, that is how it goes?
Yeah, I resolve it on, and if I do come to a part where I think, oh, actually this needs to happen, I will at that point go back and sort the stuff out that needs to be changed.
Wow.
Otherwise I can't then write on that point.
Yeah.
And I've really tried to get, follow all the suggestions of getting that dirty draft down, but it doesn't work. And actually what I've taken to now is I've gone back to handwriting first of all. So my first draft is my notebook. My second draft is me typing it up or using the very entertaining dictation software, which had me carrying hot monks across the kitchen.
Well, it's a hobby again.
It wasn't that sort
Me
of
a cat's
story.
Why
not? LEJ, not ELJ. But those hot monks will live with me forevermore now.
I think we need to visit you.
Yeah. There were at least 3 hot monks, as I recall, being carried across the kitchen. So I'm changing my way of writing. But if you can't stop your inner editor coming out, if that's the way you work, then go with it.
Yeah, do it. Thank you, Laura.
The final Sparkle Spotlight, I'm welcoming somebody called Celia J. Anderson. No face, usually behind the camera. Celia, can you tell us about what you're working on at the moment?
Thank you, Celia. It's very nice of you to invite me. If you'd asked me that question the day before yesterday, I probably would have said a road trip with 2 very individual characters who don't really have much in common. But yesterday I had a really inspiring one-to-one. And now I've decided to go back to the book that I initially thought was no good, and it's going to have a whole new life. So I'm going to revisit the last book.
And what inspired you to become a writer in the first place?
Well, I've always enjoyed writing, but it was when I decided to become a teacher that I decided to become a writer at the same time, because I thought I would multitask. And I had to go back to university just to do a refresher course and do a creative writing module with somebody called Pat 3, who I've always wanted to meet again and say thank you to, but I can't find her. I think she might be imagined her actually. She's my imaginary friend. And she set us a task to write the first chapter of a novel, and I just carried on and kept going. That novel didn't go anywhere until last year, so that ended up being my 4th novel. I went back to it and used what I loved.
And finally, what's your writing tip that you can give us today?
From a personal point of view, my top writing tip, Celia, as you well know, is we like getting up early. We really try our best about +4 in the morning. And just lately, Celia, I know you'll agree that we've been a little bit lazy and we've been staying in bed eating our muesli and banana and tea and talking to our husband, and things have got a little bit slack. So I think you and I, we're both going to get together and pull our socks up and say 4:30, we're out of that bed. So my top tip would be to find your best writing time and use it.
Lovely.